Welcome, everybody. The adult beverages are poured, the babies are asleep, and it is time for New Dad Gaming, a show about gaming, fatherhood, and new fathers trying to figure out their gaming lives. My name is Trevor, and I have a 4-month-old who's not crying right now. Gavin, how are you doing
My
over
name is
there?
Gavin. I have a 2-month-old who is most certainly crying right now.
My name's Jeff, and my kids are silent at 2.5 and 5 years old.
Beautifully asleep, I'm sure.
Oh,
Let's let that roll. Let that listen for a little
Yeah,
bit.
we'll just let this go.
Let the
My
music
wife's
play.
doing the bounce hush. She'll be hopefully. I'm not gonna say when because I'll just jinx it if I, and acknowledge it. But it seems like things are
There we go.
relaxing. Yeah,
you good?
yeah.
Mother's touch comes to the rescue. Amazing.
Just a moment. She's just having a baby moment.
Oh. Wonderful. So, gentlemen, besides current crying, how was your week in fatherhood and gaming?
Fatherhood really good. Gaming very quiet. Both quiet actually.
Nice.
With the exception of 30 seconds ago. But yeah, no, it's pretty good. I've been just kind of working my way through a few games. Mainly just I kind of want to get what console games I'm currently working on done, and then I can when I got a few that I got lined up that I want to play that are coming out this fall. So I want to try to clear my dance card, so to speak.
So, what are those ones? So, I know you had been working through Dying Light. Which other ones are
Yeah,
you trying
working through
to?
that, I think I'm pretty close to the end. I think I'm near, like, it was one of the, I think my next mission is to, like, just finish off the bad guy. And Metro, one of the two remakes, or the remastered editions, I'm just about done the first one. And then I think once I'm done those two larger titles, I'll probably put away on some kind of smaller bite-sized things, like Lost Orbit or Super Time Force or some Lovers in a Dangerous Spacetime, just some smaller like independent titles that are just kind of fun, do a level or two, and then you're like, all right, that was nice. Great for like afternoon breaks and nap times.
Nice. So, Jeff, yourself, your week in gaming and fatherhood.
First, well, with fatherhood, it was pretty quiet again. I did bring my oldest to come vote because we have a new prime minister now in Canada. So he,
Who, who did, who did,
nonpartisan,
who did he vote for? The Green Party.
good. Yeah, he voted for whatever color is his favorite.
Yeah,
He
yeah.
must not vote for that party. But it was fun to bring him in and kind of teach him, start getting him used to that social responsibility, I guess.
Yeah, our little one was with us, but I don't. She was. We have her so cocooned for this windy weather that I think she saw the sky and then another ceiling that wasn't hers, and then sky and then ceiling again. So
Same thing, right?
that's really all I saw during the election too. I didn't even look at the
Yes, I don't know what happened. In terms of gaming, Back to the Future Day today, so
I saw what you got today.
I
I
couldn't
am
resist.
very jealous. I'm actually like, I have to get this game now. I have to go and get Rocket League.
Yep, you
Just
have
for
to
that.
get it. Rocket League, the DeLorean, it's
Mm.
awesome. Like
Mhm.
the attention to detail is wicked. If you
Looks beautiful.
you rocket jump and fly, the wheels turn in,
Oh,
the sounds, and if somebody
if you,
blows you up, it's the license plate that spins with the flames. So
oh,
good.
you
It's so
leave like the flame tracks behind
yeah,
you.
yeah, yeah.
Oh,
Yeah,
but is it like only if you're at 88?
no, it should be. It should be.
So you have to
But when
like,
you
you can't go too
score,
fast or too slow. You have to like hit the right speed, and then that's the only time it leaves a flame
that,
trail.
yeah, I'd be keeping it at 88 all the time.
Yeah.
But no, it's awesome, and it has like the lightning stuff that comes back.
Oh, it's
It's not
beautiful.
customizable, but you don't really need it.
No, you don't.
So
It's like the time machine.
yeah,
Like that's all you
yeah,
would customize a
yeah,
DeLorean to be. That's all you can customize a DeLorean to be.
Yeah,
it's
it's
so
just
good.
done so right in the sense that it's a love letter to it, like, and it's an homage. Like, it's not it so much feels like not a cash grab compared to I mean, it's the tiniest bit of a cash grab, but in such a great way. It's relatively inexpensive, and it's just done so lovingly and so much attention to detail. It's like you could tell their fans, like, wouldn't it be cool if we were able to get this car into our game? And then, oh god, we got the car in the game. It's amazing.
And I think it's because it's an homage to something that has absolutely no relationship to the game whatsoever. Because if you look at the other sort of like, oh, I really want to skin my character to look that way, you know, if you look at the new Batman game that just came out, they have some like the classic Tim Burton Batman outfit with the Batmobile and that, and those are the things that are actually the only things that are really enticing me whatsoever to want to get the game. It's not the game itself; it's what I can do playing dress up, and that factor. But because it's attached to the same IP, it then feels more like a cash grab than with Rocket League's DeLorean because it's like. It's just we love cars, and this is the coolest car. You know, it'd be like if they had I could also buy Kit and like the General Lee.
Oh, that would be so good. Wow.
I know the General Lee's a touchy subject. Like I get it. It's not exactly painted in a very sensitive manner. But like I don't even if they redid it as far as a paint job, I just want that particular car and that horn. And that's it. Like you can paint it with like just a pattern of roosters on the side. Now that would be great, as long as it makes a sound and can jump over like a babbling crick. Then I'm set.
No, as long as it could change the announcer voice too. Well, the player Gavin sure got himself in trouble again. Like that.
Looks like he done hit that post.
See now that would they did that with Dota recently, where they had Rick and Morty.
Wicked.
And it is worth checking out a line. It is absolutely hilarious. Like there's so much in character, like going back and forth. Like they're bantering. The one's trying to calm down the other guy. It's just
that's amazing.
And in many ways, like you said, Gavin, like, I guess in some ways it worked because it's so out of the game itself. Like, just comes in and it's this curveball. That's hilarious.
I think that's because you feel it's them being fans, and that's the relationship. That's the segue between their game and this content is their love. You know, it's not somebody's idea for DLC. It's somebody wanting to make it for the game, and they're like, well, we got to monetize somehow, so we'll just ask people for a couple bucks and call it a day. You know, I think that's I think maybe that's the formula. You know, that, or at least that's the thing that will really help you see it as like, yeah, that's some nice DLC. I'm happy I got that.
I'm happy.
Yeah. Honestly, that
man, I got
stadiums have changed. The stadiums have changed. So when you score a goal, there's like one of the stadiums is redone. It has the clock above the goal, and when you score, it spins and lightning hits it, and it has the hover trains. It's wicked.
Oh, that's so cool.
You had a good night.
I got back into it. I just played it for an hour before I came online here. So yeah, that's good.
Yeah, so just quick diversion back to what you said. The one Batman actually kind of screwed me over because as part of the deal that I got with Origins, it said like, here's all the skin packs. It's like, oh, this is sick. Yeah. There's like 10 different ways to make Batman look. That'd be hilarious to go the game that way. Yeah. They don't let me do it the first time. Like you have to beat the game first, unless I've terribly misunderstood it or something's broken. You have to beat the game first.
Game plus.
Yeah, you can. So I have them. Like they're installed as best. And again, I half wish I'd researched this before I complained. But
see, and that's the thing that brings me back away from putting the game in my pocket and taking it home. Well, buying it, obviously, not just shoplifting it, but like.
That's what keeps you from theft.
Oh, that's the one thing that keeps me from theft is Batman, and my fear of Batman. No, because I think it was the first Arkham Knight one. This one's Arkham. Is this Arkham Knight? There's Arkham City.
There's too many.
Arkham City. That's it. I don't know. The one after Arkham Asylum, like the first City one.
Yep, City.
Yeah, Arkham City. Yeah.
That one had the outfit from the Frank Miller comic, like grizzled old, cranky, like the Harrison Ford Batman kind of like, I'm getting too old for this. And that was the costume that I played most of it in because I'm like, this is amazing. I love that Frank Miller Batman just because he's just a jerk. He's great. And I think that one was a straight out like, yeah, you go ahead, you can switch your costumes. I don't think the other ones had that issue until this new one, where it's like, no, it's only for New Game Plus because you have time to play a game twice.
Yeah,
Sorry.
I feel like I'm gonna triple check online because like it doesn't feel right, and if it is, like, man, I'm never playing that twice.
No.
Like, there's no chance. I'll be lucky to finish it one time with current like dad hours, but
maybe there's like a Konami code, or like
right,
dad
Trevor?
code. Yeah.
Yeah, there you go.
some sort of code that I could just beat up the Riddler would be is everything I need. They just put you and Riddler in the room and just let you go at it for like 10 minutes.
Just mash X to punch face.
Oh, damn that guy. But and jump now forward to what we were talking about. I did play Rocket League this week after we got off the. Yeah, that's right. After we got off the episode last week, it's like, is it? I don't know if you guys get this as well, but it's like this. It's a massive jump sometimes to get into the next game, where it's you don't know what it is. Your time is limited. Baby could wake up any minute. I don't know if this game's any good, or if it's like going to be any funny more. Like it sounds like it's going to be great, but maybe I don't like it. Mm-hmm. Right? And then you have to kind of learn some mechanics. So man, that first jump in can be so burdensome sometimes. In some ways, it even kept me away from it. But after this update came in, after we talked last week, and we just talked about Backlog and a game I never played, and then it's also just time sensitive, which we've mentioned as well. Like this game, it's all the rage. I hope it goes on to be popular for years, but maybe by 2 years from now, no one's in lobby. So yeah, just had to do it. Pull the trigger. I'm like, damn, it's an awesome game. Nice. What a great day to start. DeLoreans are flying all over the place. It was amazing.
Welcome, Trevor. Welcome.
I have a strong feeling we're gonna wind up having to get this game.
Yeah,
it's so easy to get into. Like you just pick up and play, and it's so fun and it's ridiculous. Like it's just
it's so dad. Yeah, like it's so dad sessionable. It's perfect in the sense that if you have like the 5 minutes, 10 minutes, 15 while they're sleeping, totally pick it up, get a couple games, get out. And the best part too is like it's pretty fluid. And when I was playing it, as far as people kind of hopping in and hopping out for whatever reasons, either they didn't want to lose or connections, whatever. But just like so simple in that regard. And then the mechanics after the first game. Quick tip: turn on ball follow mode. That makes life so much easier.
Oh yes, yeah. You can change the field of view too. Go in there and do that.
Oh, so like ball follow, like the camera will follow.
Yeah.
Yeah. It's always like from between you and the ball. Because otherwise I'm just sitting there like, what the?
Yeah, you get like a little arrow telling you where the ball is, and it's not really helpful. Yeah. So the ball mode, yes, definitely, and field of view, like expand that as much as you can.
Jeez, I didn't know that existed.
I actually know I might play you, so don't do that. Just play normal.
We're probably gonna be the same team. We're gonna be new dad team. Like you gotta.
Oh, there we go. Yeah, okay. Then expand it. Yeah.
We're gonna start our new esport professional league for Rocket League.
Nice.
I heard they're making it into an esport. I don't know the traction, but like I've heard that there's been now a couple professional matches, a couple tournaments. Be curious to see if it could manage. It feels a little too hectic.
Yeah, well, 4 versus 4 is chaos, right? I think 3 is the best one. And I don't know if your screen is showing this, but Gavin's frozen screen on my screen is amazing. What? Oh, no, okay. There's just a frozen picture of you, and it was just like...
He's super happy.
Maybe it's my connection, I don't know.
For the audio listeners, he was making a super happy face.
Super happy face.
That's my resting dad face.
Yeah. But let's start a team. Let's get sponsors. We're looking for sponsors, everybody. Let's and do an esport.
But you get to so I was going through some customizations. I obviously don't have much because I just started playing, but there's like flags that are flying, and there's a bunch of flags for like there's Rooster Teeth. Yeah. There was like a bunch of popular online venues. You could just like fly as a flag like behind it. So
there's the deal with it, and it comes down slowly onto your car. You know the shades?
Oh,
it's so good. Again, like a love letter to gaming. Like they just want to make content for it, and a lot of it's free. Like the DeLorean was $1.99, but the the developer earned my
Yeah.
cash.
Yeah,
I
I
wanna say,
give
like-
them that money. That's like
I
would
needed
get,
it.
You get more joy out of that than you would of a cup of really bad gas station coffee. And
There you go.
cream.
Justified.
Depends on the context. Like sometimes I really need that. Like the previous week, I would have so much preferred the gasoline coffee to the DLC. I needed it. Man, I got as far as a game you could play with your kids though. Like it's hectic, like it's fun, like it's dumb, like no one gets hurt, like it's zip around in cars and hit a ball. Like man, it's perfect for a kid if you ever wanted to play with your young one.
Yeah. And I have. He's watched me destroy other people.
I didn't know the car could die. Like that was surprising.
Yeah, you have to hit
blew
it
up a
top
bunch.
speed though. Top speed. You have to.
Yeah, but like the first time it happened, it was just like, where am I? What happened?
Oh, you got blown up.
I
Okay.
died. Yeah, it was surprising just because I had no preparation that I could possibly die. And next thing you know, like my wheels are flying and just like I'm off screen. Like it's like, did I do this so badly? I got kicked. Like,
Yeah. Getting spawn killed after that, right? I don't like this game.
yeah. Oh, too good. Yeah. Otherwise, on the baby front, things are going great. He got his first tooth on
Oh.
first lower. He's so far handling it like a champ. So it's so far so good. We gotta get a bunch of stuff ready to go, but like it's just one, and like as it keeps coming out, like it's just gonna be this funny thing where he's got this like dumb baby grin of like, yeah, there's, like
Take like cans, open cans.
there's certain phases where I think babies just look terribly ugly. Like just,
Oh yeah.
there's like
Yeah.
firstborn, there's a really weird kind of stage, and then
You
like
said that. I didn't say that. I didn't say
Yeah.
that.
I just gotta make sure my wife never watches this, and I'll be okay.
I'm
But,
not
yeah.
saying anything.
Oh yeah, yours live in the room. Gavin, tell me about how sometimes babies are ugly. Go.
I wish I could, but I can't. Mine's beautiful and perfect.
Adorable. So adorable.
And at one point, like ours, my child was born with so much hair, and it had this like, it just had this habit of like standing up directly on end on the top, no matter how much like you brush it to the one side. Within like 2 minutes, just like, bink, like back, and then he'd give you the dumb grin. And you're like, oh man, you're hilarious looking.
So huge hair and like one tooth sticking in the bottom.
Yep. I like the faces babies make when they're still figuring out like the muscles that allow them to make expressions. And it's like there's certain pouts that my daughter will make, and it's just like that's new. That's a new type of pout. Are you trying it out to see whether it works faster? Like what's that? Or then like just different smiles. Like there's one where it's kind of like mischievous. There's another one that's like just goofy, but then she makes like some faces that make her look like an old man. And we're just like, why is she making that face? It's just like she just turned into like this 90-year-old man, just that's usually right before she explodes.
I think the best is the roller coaster, where it's at one moment it's like this massive smile, could not be happier.
Yeah.
And then literally for no reason, just like complete turn, crying catastrophe. And it's like,
Ours does that too.
What on earth happened?
It's like, yes, no. What?
This is showing weakness.
What
I can't do
happened?
this. It's showing weakness.
This is the best day of my life. I'm so happy, and by that I mean this is awful. God, why?
Yeah.
You're like,
I don't know
"Please,
what
baby."
makes them do that. It's really weird. It's kind of funny to hear that your child does that too. It's just this there's not even a transitional state. Like it's like you blink yourself, and upon reopening your own eyelids, they're all of a sudden like 5 minutes past angry.
Could be the bone shards jamming through their gums trying to make their way out. That's just.
That could be it.
Ah.
Yeah, by what design, by what evolutionary point was the decision made that let's have this hurt for the being that can't handle anything? Let's have this hurt a whole ton. That sounds wise. Like it'll build character.
I think that could be nature just conditioning us. It's like, you know what, the world's really not going to be great.
Yeah.
Horrible out there. So let's just get this over with
And
now.
let me just stab your gums here for a couple months. Yeah.
Yeah.
But no big pains yet for it, which has been fortunate. The one that we had like a nurse tell us that one of the he was kicking a lot, like still kind of asleep, but like just like booting his legs and his arms, and apparently that was like a side effect of the teething. Like yeah, like I don't know if it's like by method of to get it out, or if like just because it's not painful but uncomfortable. Like they're just like he's just sitting there flailing his legs wildly.
Wow.
It's like, yeah, it's part of the teething. It's like, what?
Okay.
Sure. Okay.
Sure.
Babies, man. Babies. Now the
Humans are odd animals.
so you want to know? Talking about odd animals, our wives.
I didn't say that. So far we have ugly babies and.
I didn't even hear it.
Jeez,
I was too busy thinking of my beautiful baby.
We take some points away. Can there be?
Oh, come on, that was a.
Well, does it have a little doghouse icon pop up?
That was sad love. Yeah, man, you guys could not have distanced yourself any.
We're not throwing you under the bus. I don't get what you're saying.
No, we're not throwing you under the bus. We're just stepping out of the way.
Just letting it catch on fire and roll down the hill.
I'm just going to step off the road and let this just proceed.
But speaking of the young ones and the beautiful women in our lives who brought them in.
There we are. You're going to edit this in post, aren't you?
Cut out all these lines. Oh, it was said in good fun. But speaking of our wives and gaming, the notion of gaming with your partner. I know that for some couples it's especially easy, or just like it's something that they even got together on, where like, you know, someone who's dating or someone who's married, part of it is now just to play games together. Other ones, and you know, I could put us in this camp, like we have just never played a video game together. Not because of competitiveness, just my wife has never been interested in it. Mm-hmm. So the idea and the concept of, as a couple, as a pair, and now as a baby wielding pair, like what games are good for this? Like what has been your experience of it? I can give a couple stories as well of where I've made mistakes. I was trying to get my wife into gaming. Jen said, what has been your experience with gaming with your partner, and what's worked, what hasn't? How do you think it moves? Dog, take the floor.
I think the baby's barking now. We have a baby bark.
Yeah, she's trying new things. Ziggy. Enough. Come here now. Ziggy.
I know. For me though, relationship-wise and gaming-wise, we're kind of middle of the road. So we have more time. We could definitely play something that's more involved, right? Because our kids are old enough, they go to sleep. You back, Kevin? What's going on?
The dog wants to make a ruckus.
Oh, okay.
My apartment is.
Come on.
Sorry. Continue, Jeff. I am listening. I'm just also glaring at my dog.
In terms of our, I guess, gaming time, she likes certain games that I can play with her. So we're kind of, I guess, limited to Tetris, Dr. Mario, Mario 3, like that kind of stuff. Some more platformer puzzle games, which work out because it's pretty quick session. You don't get really too involved, and it's not real time. Like Tetris is, but you can always pause it. And we have fun. Like it's a good break, but nothing like crazy involved like Diablo or anything like that, right? So we're limited that way, but it works. Yeah. I mean,
well, there's a perfect segue because you mentioned Diablo, and that was probably,
well, that's what I was thinking.
Yeah, that's probably one of the better couch co-op games, or better yet, spouse co-op games I've played in a while. I kind of picked it up on a whim. I usually played it on the PC, but I'm like, oh, let's try it on the console. And I was trying it out, and then I asked her, well, do you want to just try it like tonight? You know, we'll try something new. And then I convinced her to play around.
Leave it alone.
I'm not going to say anything. It's just role playing. That's all it is. I don't get it.
So no, she played. She's like, you know what? Yeah, let's, because she's a pretty decent gamer. Like she grew up playing games. Like she is a gamer. Played a lot of games on like the N64 and even like early PC titles and that. So like she knows her way around a controller. She knows what she's doing. But she had never played a role-playing game or even an action role-playing game before. Most of her gameplay has been more, or her play experience has been more like Mario Kart or platformers or some like point-and-click adventures like Monkey Island, stuff like that, but never like a full-on RPG where you have character stats and stuff like that. So she gave it a try, and I think because of the way it was implemented for the console, it was just very easy to pick up for somebody who hadn't played that style of game before. And we had a really good time. We ended up beating the game, and then I think got like because it'll reset and you can play the game with the same characters, but now at the level you were at the end of the previous playthrough.
Right.
So we got through, I think, halfway through a second playthrough.
Wow.
And we were really enjoying it. It became like a nightly thing. Like every night at 10 o'clock, we would boot up some Diablo and play for about an hour, and see how far we could get or see how many dungeons we could clear, and then close it up for the night and try again the next day.
I mean, you're a little early on with the baby, but could you see this being something, like let's say next week your baby has the sleep of her life, could you see yourselves booting it up and playing it again at this point?
Maybe, but I think like we kind of got our fill of that one, so we might be probably interested in finding something else that's as enjoyable. The other thing that, like, we also play a lot of platformers together, like the Rayman series and stuff like that. But something else that we really have kind of gotten into is I really like narrative heavy games like Last of Us and games like that. And she's actually really enjoyed kind of watching them. And then also kind of helping me make certain decisions in the course of the game. So, like, if there is a narrative branch that it's like, oh, should we go right or go left? She likes participating in those narrative decisions because usually like, she's in the room anyways. She might even have, like, the baby with her, but we're playing a game and making those choices. So I think future narrative-heavy games, like actually one that we're contemplating of is Until Dawn, where it's like a horror movie, and you have a group of teenagers and you all have to try to survive.
Yeah.
So you're making decisions to see how, it's like a what-if scenario, and how would you survive a night with a serial killer. And it's very kind of like tongue-in-cheek, playing homage.
Good relationship builder.
Yeah. Well, the thing is that like she's a huge fan of like the Scream series and stuff like that as well.
Okay.
So it's something that she's interested in for just the sake of like that sounds like a fun story, and it's like a choose your own adventure. So like let's sit on the couch, choose the adventure, just because she doesn't have the controller in hand because she might have the baby with her, or even just because even with The Last of Us, we were playing that before the baby was even born, and she just liked being there to participate in the narrative. And she might even be just reading a book or a magazine alongside me, but she's there with me while I'm playing, which is great because we get to spend some time together. We get to talk about how crazy that story arc was. So yeah, but I think we are, right now too, any kind of together downtime, we do like watching some TV shows. So that's another, like, that passive entertainment right now is quite easy because we can pause it and walk away from it very easily. So I think maybe with a better sleep schedule, we would look into that. And I also have to get around to finally getting a second controller for the new console. That helps too. But yeah. But no, it's. I think a lot of times too is it's playing to the most games. It's playing to the narrative of your partner, or like the narratives that they enjoy. So like she really likes Harry Potter and Lord of the Rings and that. So with Diablo, like she got to play as like a mage. She was like this crazy witch with like this floating skull in one hand and this huge wand staff in the other, and she got to kind of like play with fantasy tropes that she's used to reading about or seeing in films. But she got to kind of experience that in a way that she hadn't before with games, even though she had been playing a lot of games. And that's a lot of fun too. And I think that's kind of like the gateway mechanism to maybe get a partner into a game that they might not have been into before. Is like, well, you're into this narrative style or you're into this genre. Here's just a new way of enjoying that genre. And that's usually the hook. And then they got you.
Then they're in for life.
Yeah.
No, because it's too bad we don't have one more new dad here today. That could be someone whose wife was like a hardcore gamer as well, much like them, so they could get that experience.
Or even more so than them.
Yeah.
Where it's like the guy's like, yeah, I like Fruit Ninja and Angry Birds, and she's like, yeah, I'm like,
Man, we
I
gotta.
play Dota, and I'm like a level 508 or something, like just crazy stats, and it's like that's what she does, and like he's just like very casual.
We have to find that for next week. See if they just give an update what that life is like. Because I'm the absolute. Otherwise, we have the entire spectrum.
Right.
Jeff, some games pretty tiny. Gavin a bit more involved up until Diablo, and then myself just nothing, like nada.
Flatline.
You know what though? Wouldn't it be hilarious though if we find out that like your wife is moonlighting as like a Call of Duty esports champion?
Yeah.
Call of Duty too, like she loves poning noobs.
Yeah,
just screaming like the most vile stuff, like into it.
Like, what are you doing?
With the baby
with the baby in one arm. She's like using a controller and a foot, like a hand and a foot on the controller, and she's just like, completely owning everybody.
So she had never played games as a kid, even teenager, no introduction into it, and the place.
Poor girl.
What a sad childhood.
And then you hear about all the books she's read, and you're like, oh,
knowledge.
Even all these skills and knowledge. Like, she can show jump.
How
horses.
many languages does she speak again?
3 languages. She can show jump horses. She was near.
Play the imports.
She was near Olympics swimming. Like it was.
Oh my gosh.
Yeah. So,
wow.
But my Diablo character is very.
Just look at us.
Yeah. Too bad she never got into gaming. She could have really done some stuff.
Something with her life. Yeah, nice. But so the missteps I took was I remembered I decided to try it as far as like I'm going to try to see if she would want to play a game, and I remember and to my ultimate shame, like I rented like Viva Pinata or
that thing.
Yeah, it was just
I remember it looking pretty, but then I remember hearing bad things.
Well, it was just a collection of like mini games, and it seemed low barrier entry, like cutesy, so it wasn't going to be anything like above. But it was so pandering and so like insulting. It's just like why would you waste time playing this thing? Like why? Yeah. Like this is stupid. Like she hated it. So in many ways, so that was a terrible mistake. It's just like, oh, this is what like look. I think games are kind of dumb, and then you play this game. It's like, look at this waste of time, cutesy nonsense, and the challenges are stupid. Like I'm winning all the time. Like this is foolish. Like why do I bother? I do also. In a sense, I think I was playing Halo. I'd just gotten a 360 for the first time. And I was going through Halo, well beyond like when it was already out, like years past. And she was watching. I'm like, why don't you just grab a controller and like hop in? Let's see what it's like. And to see the exploration of movement as far as like
spinning around and
just like looking up, but then the character like is frozen looking up, and she doesn't know to like kind of like use the other one to look down. Like so, it's the thing that we take for granted, but like the 2 thumb control thing, which now at this point after our training, quote unquote, of always being gamers, is so natural.
Well, there's a lot of muscle memory that can be transferable from game to game, and even like subcategorized. So it's like, oh, I'm playing a third-person action game, so I know this is how it works, and I know how to like dodge roll and blah blah blah. Because so many games share button schemes because they know that the people have gotten used to this. So it's like, A to jump because it's been that way for decades.
Forever.
Don't mess with it. Until you play a game where they're like, use a bumper to jump. I'm like, that's weird. Why are you making me do this?
Going to the
Dying Light
settings and just change
does
it.
that. Dying Light makes you use the bumper to jump.
Oh, change.
Yeah. No, you can't remap it because it's like once you get used to it, though, it makes sense. But it was hard to unlearn because my muscle memory is like A to jump. But yeah, to see somebody who doesn't have that muscle memory play the game for the first time, and it's like they're looking straight down and spinning around.
And frustration.
Even my wife had trouble with the dual thumbstick first-person shooters because her first-person shooter experience was Goldeneye. So if you put a Goldeneye controller in her hand, she's still at peak Goldeneye N64, and she's able to just completely decimate me because my new first-person shooter muscle memory is for like a dual analog controller,
right?
As opposed to the single analog stick, and then that weird like you hold a button down and then use the cursor, and then like I forgot how to do it. But she still has it because she hasn't unlearned it to learn the new way that's being done with the modern consoles. So yeah, she just completely makes a fool of me.
Nice. I think so the place, and so then 3 areas that I found interesting. One was at a party. There was WarioWare.
Oh yeah.
With all like
Yeah.
the crazy like little mini games, and she it was great. Like she got it, and it was reactive in the sense like I was, now grab the controller and jump, or like now swish this way or turn around, and like because it's that physicality to it, as well as the digital, like there was that ability to do it. Like there wasn't this like limiting input for it, and accordingly, like she had an excellent time with that one. So that was funny to watch. There was one game where it was I got it off of this arcade set. It was kind of just like a matching game, basically. I actually think it might have been Bejeweled. So just like take these little crystals, switch them around, and
Cool.
yeah, and that one like I was excited about because she'd actually asked, "How do you turn on this Xbox? I want to play that game."
Oh, nice.
And she did that for a couple months, and I was like, "This is amazing. This is
You're
so
sitting there just all like puppy dog eyes. You're like, this is awesome.
it's happening." So
Keep going.
and then now the kind of like the third ray of light where I think that there's still possibly a chance, and it is what it is. I'm not I'm not going to be really worried about it if it never materializes. It's just a hobby that I take so much joy in. I'd like her to come along, but with we really got into the TV show The Flash.
Okay.
Oh,
So
yeah.
and the reason why I think that's a ray of light is just like that leap, like that leap of belief as far as, okay, well, these guys have these magic powers, and this guy's got this magic power, and he's zipping around, and he's a hero, and he's gonna save, and being able to connect and enjoy that storyline feels like it's a much smaller leap than to go into a video game, perhaps much like you said Last of Us, like the idea that then they could get into Last of Us, look at that same storyline, and then the path begins.
It's also a good prep for your kids, right? Because my kids are all into superheroes now. So now my wife knows every single superhero and superpower and the villain that is against them. So
Yeah.
that might even be a good entrance into other games, right? Maybe once your kids start getting into gaming, maybe she'll start to play with them, and that's the light at the end of the tunnel, so to speak, that she can get it. Another game I thought of though that was a good one was Guitar Hero, which
That
she
actually,
picked
yeah.
up and tried, right? And even families, you break it open at Christmas and the family's playing. That was a good one.
It's the type of like arcade game you would have seen like at a sports bar.
Right,
Like that
yeah, yeah.
golf one where you fly the wheel and it does a thing.
Yeah, yeah.
Those types of games. I think they're very well designed for just anybody to pick up. It's basically you pick up this plastic thing and you do something, and then bright colors will happen.
Yeah.
And actually, that's a very good because my wife and I would play a lot of Guitar Hero, especially like the Beatles or no, the Rock Band Beatles.
Yeah.
We played a lot of that too, and it was great. We never got too involved with like buying the drums and all the other kits, but
No, but even just the guitar, right? It was very accessible to almost anybody. So
I think I got the guitar for free too. I had a buddy who was like, "I got a new one. Do you want this?" Like, sure.
Got
Use
this
your
custom
$100.
one.
yeah,
Yeah.
Yeah, see, my worry with that is that like it seems a bit, what's the word, gimmicky in some sense, where it's just like as long as the game is, even with WarioWare, I guess what I'm trying to find is the video game that is a video game, like through and through. Like something that could be kind of almost classically defined as a video game, like Guitar Hero and WarioWare. Not to say that they're not video games necessarily, but they have such a physical or such a gimmick to them that it's like, okay, well, we can do these things as long as there is, a external like gun that you can point, or as long as there's like nunchucks that you're zipping around, or there's, a plastic guitar, as opposed to like the core of a video game as far as like this input and there's a figure on screen that you're controlling, then things happen, and trying to find that enjoyment of it. I don't want
Without motion controls or additional peripherals.
right.
Yeah. I mean, so the one I'm hoping for, like I'm sometime this week we're going to be trying out Lovers in the Dangerous Spacetime,
Yeah.
because it seems infinitely approachable. It's very much made for couch co-op. I think some of the harder levels will probably be a little bit beyond us, but still just that the aesthetics and how well it's been built and made. It feels like it's a little bit beyond what the skill level might be, but it would still present a playground by which you could start to want to understand it and like get into it.
Yeah, and I think like even the earlier levels are approachable enough that you can actually play it by yourself with the dog, because there's like a dog AI character.
Oh, there's a dog in it?
Yeah,
Sold.
or cat.
Oh.
Depending on your preference. Cat
Is there
is
DeLorean
obviously
DLC
the wrong
or-
choice.
No DeLorean, no.
No DeLorean.
bye.
No DeLorean. But yeah, I think that's actually a really good idea, Trevor, because it's a game that is it scales up in difficulty quite well, and it's even a good experience for somebody who doesn't play a lot of games to play a game that does kind of kick them around a bit, because that's the challenge. Like, that's what makes for a fun game. Like, that's what makes you want to play that level again. You know, it's like Bowser keeps knocking you into lava. You want to keep going. You keep getting snagged with this same shape combination in Tetris. You want to keep trying. That's kind of the fun part of video games, I find, is just that you hit that snag and you're like, I've hit a problem, I need to try to work around it. Mm-hmm. And to be able to work around a problem like that together, I think is going to be really great, because that's one of the things that I found playing Diablo, or even when we play platformers together like Donkey Kong or games like that. It's sometimes we hit a level that's so hard we're almost ready to like snap a controller, and sometimes we even get a little bit short with each other, and never like mad, but just like, it's like, seriously you knocked me off the platform. But when we finally beat that level together, it's a very awesome high five. And I think that's one of the joys of finding a game that you can play with your partner, is that fun of overcoming adversity together, but in a very safe space, because at the end of the day, it's just a video game. It's not like trying to overcome a landlord evicting you. Like, you're just overcoming...
Achievement unlocked.
Achievement unlocked. You get to keep living here.
Yeah.
But yeah, it's just finding that... I think that the game that you're picking as far as a good entry one, I think is fantastic, because there is going to be a lot of moments, because it's also procedurally generated too. Even if you get stuck on the same area, you can replay that area, and every time it's going to be different.
Yeah, I think what's good about it too, in my thinking of it, is that because it's 2-player and there's a bunch of, for anyone who hasn't seen it, like, it's all you're in a spaceship, you're in space, you're trying to run around and save or survive in space, killing a bunch of guys. You have to try to save characters on it, and more to the point, there's how many stations are there again? Like 6?
There's 4 guns, a shield, navigation, like basically piloting the ship, and then a super weapon. So I think 7 total.
Okay, yeah, so 7 things. You can only control, as a player, 1 at a time. And then your partner has to control 1 too. Yeah. So, you're constantly running around. It's teamwork. You're yelling at each other saying, okay, you get the shields, I'll get the thrusters. And that's great. And I think what's exciting about that is that if I can kind of pull the team a little bit, in the sense that if like you ask her to take care of 1 or even just a couple of them, well, so there's a success. So it's not this like, if I play, I think there needs to be that shift in play style, where if I'm playing with you, Jeff, or you, Gavin, there's a certain expectation I would have about you guys holding yourself, so that we can actually steer the ship. Whereas this, I know that I know I can, like, you know what, I'll take care of these like 5, you take care of these 2.
Yeah.
And just so there's that enjoyable experience, and then accordingly, you get a bit more progress in it. So that aspect of it, I think, was enticing to me for it.
I think too, when we were playing the game, is that it was just a matter of like, okay, what thing do you like doing the most? And then it's like, I just want to fly the ship. And it's like, all right, then you just pilot the ship, and then I'm going to run around and use the guns. And then, like, if we found ourselves in a really, really hairy spot, then the person piloting would just be like, okay, I'm done flying. Let's just park and blast, and then we just do that. So I think that it is a good game for that too, because it could be a thing where the first couple times you play it, she's like, I just want to drive. Tell me where to drive, and you run around and shoot things. And then later on, it's like, you know what, you drive. I kind of want to try shooting at stuff. And I think it could work really well. This episode is brought to you by Lovers.
Yeah. You could also consider like other games that, it's a single player, but if it was like Journey, where it's more of like you can't die. It's more of like an artistic kind of feel-good game. So you can kind of get those platforming type controls down without anything chasing to kill you or jumping on things.
Yeah.
Where you're just kind of skating down sand dunes and looking at stuff and trying to solve simple puzzles.
See, I think
Katamari was fun too. It's a good like
Katamari,
I played, and now you play, and then I play, and then you play. So it's not really a multiplayer or a co-op game, but it's one that you take turns. Like finding a game that's good for taking turns is also a fantastic way of doing stuff. It's you know, it's like, okay, that was my attempt at this level. Do you want to try this level and do better than me kind of thing? Or it's not straight up competition, like you're never ranked or put on a pedestal next to the person, but it's just a matter of like, it's like a playground that you just kind of have
fun. That one's hilarious too. Katamari, I forgot about that one.
Soundtrack.
Awesome.
The soundtrack on that game is just immaculate.
Beautiful. The art.
Because I was thinking, now I think about with something like Journey, like I'd be a little bit worried that there'd be some points where it's like what's the point of this? Like, what is this? Like, if you don't know that there's going to be, if
the game strikes a debate about the existence and necessity of art, then like it may be no longer a leisure activity. Like it gets out of that realm where it starts like, you know, a really in-depth conversation of like, well, where does pop culture end and art begins? And it's like, okay, we're not having fun anymore. I'm gonna go get a pot of coffee on and sit down and do this.
Yeah, but this isn't working for me.
Yeah,
it feels like Journey's a bit more
existential. Yeah,
it feels like Journey's a bit more made for gamers. Like it's approachability as far like it would be a bigger payoff for somebody who's played games and was able to get some nuances of it. I think props, and you know, this I'll propose this to both of you. Little Big Planet. I don't know if you've ever tried that with the significant others.
Not yet. We haven't picked it up since we got the new console, but that is one that her and I both looked at and been like, yeah, that looks like a lot of fun.
Yeah, I could see that one working too, right? Yeah. It's a lot of co-op. Slightly, I never got used to the controls, the floatiness of it, so it actually might work well for like a beginner, where it gives you more time to kind of time your jump onto whatever platform, right? Because you kind of float up a little bit more than like Mario. So that could be a good one to kind of co-op together.
Yeah, it just seems like there's an approachability to it. Like it's put together to be like safe, like quirky fun, and the levels are just like a lot of things kind of just happen. So you just like happen to jump up for this bubble or whatever their currency kind of was, and all of a sudden like this one falls off, this falls off, a big piece moves, you slide down. So there's kind of like constant rewards and entertainment of it. It had seemed to me like a good place in. At the same time, I didn't find it. I only ever played it. I never had a PSP or a PS. Never had a PS3. Have not had a PS4. So again, I've only ever played it on the PSP. But in so doing, like it just felt like it's kind of a safe, easy place where with plenty of charm to spare. I mean, these guys are obviously cute as heck, and you dress them up.
Another one actually that would be good because you could get it on the PSP is a game called Guacamele.
Yeah.
That one's a lot of fun, and it's a 2-player co-op, and it's kind of like it's like a rumble game where like you just like a lot of fun wrestling moves and pile drivers and stuff, and you're just fighting like these like Day of the Dead skeleton dudes and ponchos, and it's just really fun. Lots of bright colors, very very pretty, but it's also fun to interact with, and it has this sort of Metroidvania style where as you unlock different abilities, they unlock further areas in the map. So your ability to explore the world that you're in gets better as you get better. But when you're playing co-op, you both level up at the same time. So like when you unlock a new special attack that can break a certain color of brick, that happens simultaneously. So you both get to grow in unison and become powerful in unison.
It might be good to do the side-scroller thing too, right? Because you're not dealing with depth. You're just
it's just left, right, up, down. Yeah. And I found with Guacamele, it's also, as you said, like sometimes if you're playing a game where you can carry a little bit more weight. So like in this one, you can kind of corral enemies more towards you and leave her with like as many enemies as she feels comfortable with. But then like after you're done beating up the guys on your side of the screen, if she's kind of needing some help, you can run over and help her out. That's assuming that you don't like, oh, I'll come and save you, and she's like standing on a pile of dead, because that could very well happen. But that game could be a lot of fun too, because it's a platformer. You don't have to deal with any like 3D stuff, but it's absolutely beautiful and really fun to just bash on bad dudes and turn them into big piles of bones. Oh, and you can kick chickens.
Oh yeah, that's true.
It doesn't do anything. They don't get hurt. They
get
just
mad.
turn red and then flap
mad.
around angrily, and then they're fine.
Okay, I say, man, I have I'm terrified of chickens after or Ocarina of Time, like death chickens after you hurt those guys. Like, man, like
I thought you
never
were going
touch
to have a
chicken in game.
completely different story than one that actually happened to you in real life. I'm terrified.
I was 10 at the
of chickens ever
time.
since Spring Break.
Can't face
What
them.
happened at Spring Break?
Yeah.
Don't ask.
The summer was 1990. It was a hot one. The chicken's name was Clucker.
Oh.
Yeah. No, but it's kind of funny. I thought too, like, geez, you mentioned I had mentioned PSP, which actually had jarred a memory as far as there's a game Locorobo.
Sounds familiar, yeah.
It's like there's little
Oh,
yellow,
Locorobo with the blob.
yeah, the little yellow
Move
blobs.
the screen instead of him.
Yep.
Yeah, exactly. And they just like hop around, and it's super colorful, and the song, like, it's so catchy and amazing.
Yeah.
And when I think of it, though, again, like that almost feels like that's more of a Viva Pinata scenario, where it would, to the sense where, like, it's like, hey, you should totally play video games. They come in with kind of an idea that, video games are for kids, like this is childish stuff, and you hand them this thing, and it's like these little singing yellow blobs, and they're jumping around, and the background looks like a Disney
Or
cartoon.
Katamari, where you've got this cow and this king and rainbows, and this is stupid. I don't.
Yeah, but that game is hard. Like, if you want to, 100% it, it's impossible.
Oh, it is, but like just the presentation of it. But
At first glance, it's like, what is this? It's like Yo Gabba Gabba had a seizure.
yeah, there you go. It might be good for dads and moms to play. They're just like, yeah, whatever. I'm used to this.
Yeah.
Kids are watching this instead of it's like, yeah, don't worry, kid, I'll throw Yo Gabba Gabba on. It's actually just Katamari. They have no idea.
Dad,
Are you playing
it? Yeah.
I can see what you're saying, though. You don't want to jump into something too kid-like, and then she's like, yeah, this isn't working for me, right? It's
The unfortunate instance is that sometimes, though, the visual aesthetic in a game looks very childlike, but the actual meat of it is very nuanced.
Yeah.
And that can also throw off first-time gamers, as they're like, this is just child's play. And it's like, no, give it time. You'll realize that it is actually just a very colorful Rubik's Cube with smiley faces all over it, but it's still a really hard Rubik's Cube. So.
Yeah, so
Try Tetris. Try Tetris. We do Tetris,
just
2-player against each other. It's at
you
least
go.
it's an introduction to a puzzle game.
Yeah.
You can really get frustrated with it, so you might want to stop before that happens. But
honestly, I would work your way up from the classics. Like, even something as simple as Pong. Like no, I don't mean that like
Galorian, get
unsettling. But when was the last time you had an opportunity to actually play Pong with a friend? Or even with your partner? Like that game it's table hockay. But it's like
she's incredibly good at table tennis, so that could be.
there you go. Uh-oh.
There you go. Or even like Breakout, she'd be probably good at that. Used to banking and like catching and ricocheting something. A game like that, she might really, really like. Because there are a lot of games like that they're not gimmicky. They're actually very balanced and nuanced. But at first glance, they kind of look like something you see in an old arcade. But that's why you'd see them in the old arcades. Is because they were good and everybody was putting quarters in them.
Yeah, see, I think I'd want to find the version that has taken some of the more modern touches to it. I think there was Pac-Man Tournament Edition or DX or whatever that was.
Mm-hmm.
And like the thing that they did, like you grab some of the power-ups and the entire screen shakes and the music intensifies.
Yeah.
And what it's just it pushes the emotion. There's really this emotional detachment from really old games. Like there's a simple controls, that's fine, but it was just a flat presentation. Music never really changed unless you died, and even then it was just like a do like over. Right?
Yeah, the onus to be invested in it was totally on the player's responsibility. Like there wasn't anything really triggering an emotional response. It was just your own need to get Frogger across that road.
Yeah, and the stuff that we've done now is like there's challenges. Like it mentions, you need to get these 3 things. When you grab something, the screen shakes and it gives you this visceral feel. Like I don't think visceral is the right word in that case, but it gives you this big response where like something big has happened. I'm affecting this world. This is amazing. The music peaks, like there's a whole orchestral score that's helping you define the emotions that could be attached to it, and thus creating a better connection to it. So I guess so as much I think classics presents an opportunity as far as simplistic yet tried and true interactions that will work. It's just there's something going to be lost if I went too far back or too simple. So so Tetris for me, I guess it'd have to be like Tetris.
Bomberman. What about Bomberman? You can try Bomberman.
Yeah,
that'd be good. But even, I think Tetris could work. It's just like newer.
Yeah,
exactly.
I think too, though, is like sometimes the visual flourishes that they're adding to some of these games are removing the I could play it, but for somebody who had never played games before, they'd be like, yeah, that's a little bit much. It could be too much too soon, where maybe a couple years down the road, then they're like, yeah, I need a little bit more intensity in the interaction and response from what I'm playing. But for the time being, like, I just need something that's going to allow me to get my head around it without the distraction of too many particle effects and flourishes. So yeah, it's finding that sweet balance. Like, if you're going to introduce somebody to hamburgers for the first time, like, you don't want to just take them to some fast food joint and get them this greasy gray thing. But I think also taking them out for like Kobe beef sliders might be too far the other way. So it's like trying to find that right hamburger that's not, covered in shaved truffle or peeled off the back of a 7-Eleven. Like, it's finding that sweet spot where it's like this will give them the best possible experience without being overwhelmingly complicated or underwhelmingly uncomplicated.
That should be the I want that episode title to be "Which hamburger is for you?" in terms of
starter hamburgers.
Finding the perfect starter hamburger.
Yeah, gaming with spouses, also known an introduction to hamburgers.
Yeah.
And on that note, yeah, everyone, I think
we always seem to end on I make a horrible metaphor.
It's your thing.
On that note,
happens.
It's like a Gavinometer. Like, eventually just gets full at the top and just
it's like, okay, we've
finish.
We've hit peak Gavin for this episode. Let's call her a night.
But it was just so we are just basking in the brilliance of that metaphor. That, like, what else do you say? What else?
Mic drop. We're done.
Walk out. So everybody, thanks for tuning in to another episode. As always, we do this every week. Please follow, like, and subscribe. You can ask us any questions or send any show suggestions. Go to our website at newdadgaming.com. We will see you next week. Great to have you here again. And as always, I'm Trevor, and I have a 4-month-old.
I'm Gavin. I have a 2-month-old.
I'm Jeff. I have a 5-year-old and a 2.5-year-old.
Wonderful. Thanks, guys. We'll see you next week.
See ya.